what's keeping the lid on Bitcoin at the moment is you've got hundreds of billions of dollars. You've got people like Sam Bankman-Fried over at FTX, who's become a kingmaker by creating these enormous kind of cross-collateralized market-making, unregulated situations where price discovery can't take place. This is something that people talked about a couple of years ago. They said, will Bitcoin experience the same problems gold has?
Welcome to Dream Richer. Why do you think Bitcoin has been performing so poorly in the recent days? This is a question that many investors have on their mind right now. According to experts, the drop in the crypto market follows the massive rise in inflation that has plagued Americans across the country. The U.S. Federal Reserve is anticipating raising interest rates to help aid the growing costs, which has led many to drop their stocks in crypto as a precaution. As they argue, unless the Fed is able to take a breather, we're probably not going to see bullishness return. Hence, we could see much lower Bitcoin prices that continue over the next month or two. And to add fuel to the fire, Celsius paused withdrawals due to extreme market conditions, which saw Bitcoin shoot down even further. To no surprise, this move took a heavy toll on their reputation and net worth. The Celsius network had been valued at $26 billion. But as of May 2022, this dropped by a resounding $11.8 billion. By the end of this video, Max Keiser discusses the current situation of Bitcoin and why it is facing similar issues to gold. If you find the video helpful, then don't forget to subscribe. Let's get right into it.
Bitcoin is not something that you can pick up over the weekend. You really have to think about it for a while and think deeply about it. For me, what I always talk about first, whenever I talk to people, is the quality of Bitcoin where it's unconfiscatable. So this is really unique in history. We've never had, as a species, the opportunity to have wealth that's absolutely unconfiscatable. And that resonates. That really, people like that idea. And the folks here who were unbanked, right? 70% of the country before Bitcoin was unbanked. Now 70% of the country is relatively banked, as they all have now the Chivo wallet and they have access to Bitcoin. So that was a flip, an incredible change. And people like that idea. People come up to me all the time in the street and they show me their phone and they go, I have $20. I'm like, wow, that's awesome, dude. And they know that nobody can take that. This is theirs. It's unconfiscatable, and they can't be inflated away. It can't be taken from the government. It can't be stolen. It can't be extorted. And this is significant. The other thing is that it's uncensorable. So this is particularly key for remittances, right? So money going back and forth from El Salvador to the U.S., this money can go and nobody can stop it. Nobody can stop that transaction. It's uncensorable. Everything that's not Bitcoin, as I've said on your show before, would come under the heading of either relatively or absolutely centralized versus Bitcoin, which is uniquely decentralized. Additionally, a case can be made applying the Howey test that everything that's not Bitcoin would be an unregistered security. It also brings about the question about Senator Lummis in her bill that she's trying to get through Congress, talking about applying some regulations to quote unquote crypto. And she does things like she equates Ethereum and Bitcoin. She calls them both commodities, which I think is false. You can make a case that Bitcoin is a commodity like gold, but clearly Ethereum is an unregistered security without any doubt whatsoever. So Gary Gensler over at the SEC had kind of pushed back against all this and said, hey, lady, stay in your lane. You don't know what you're talking about, which I think is the correct response.
Bitcoin has seen a significant increase in demand over the past few months from several high-ranking individuals. But it's clear that not everyone truly understands Bitcoin or crypto as of yet. For example, Senator Cynthia Lummis introduced major crypto legislations in a bill. However, she labeled both Ethereum and Bitcoin as commodities. This move prompted backlash from several critics of the crypto industry, who argued that cryptocurrencies are securities and should be regulated by the Securities and Exchange Commission. When asked during a Washington Post live event what she thought about SEC Chair Gary Gensler's vocal position that most cryptocurrencies are securities, Senator Lummies responded, "I agree with him." She added that Bitcoin and Ethereum are, in her opinion, not securities, and should be regulated by the Commodities Futures Trading Commission.
What's keeping the lid on Bitcoin at the moment is you've got hundreds of billions of dollars. You've got people like Sam Bankman-Fried over at FTX, who's become a kingmaker by creating these enormous kind of cross-collateralized, market-making, unregulated situations where price discovery can't take place. This is something that people talked about a couple of years ago. They said, will Bitcoin experience the same problems gold has? Because there's no good price discovery in gold because of all the derivatives. And so Wall Street can really decide what the price of gold should be, not the market. And what Saylor's pointing out is we're seeing this now in Bitcoin. You've got derivatives or DeFi that are creating price discovery for Bitcoin, and it's blocking it from a more natural price discovery from taking place. So I think he's got an excellent point there, and this is definitely under the wheelhouse of the SEC. They're definitely should be enforcing in this case, and they're being lax, and it's unclear why the SEC is being lax. The more you learn about Bitcoin, the more of a maximalist you become. Nobody who learns about Bitcoin fails to become a maximalist. Only people who really don't take the time to learn about it are left in the camp of a no-coiner or a skeptic. But if you look around the world, in places like El Salvador, the Global South, places like Africa, the need for Bitcoin is so great that the learning curve is very fast. They just get it, there's a need for it, and that's where you're gonna see the growth pump. Bitcoin is really very much gonna be the Global South making a move on the Global North. You're gonna see the changing of the guard. The central banks, the Federal Reserve Bank and the Bank of England, European Central Bank are gonna be usurped. They're gonna be overtaken by this Bitcoin revolution, and it's gonna come from these other countries. It's not gonna be led by the United States.
It's clear from Max Keiser's explanation that Bitcoin's biggest hurdle right now is public education. A lack of awareness and education on what Bitcoin is and how it works limits the ability of people to make rational investment decisions because they don't understand the true potential of the asset. As Mr. Max argues, one of Bitcoin's strong features is its ability to be unconfiscatable. This is because your private keys can be stored in your head, and no one knows that they are there. This is not the case for something like gold, which you would have to carry across the border, for instance. So, with sufficient secrecy, a Bitcoin owner can keep their wealth safe from confiscation. Do you agree with Max Keiser? Let us know in comments below. To learn more about the latest crypto news, watch these videos here.